Hello, everybody. Guten Tag. Actually, the topic which given to me, I should talk about threat, violence against women, and the work and life situation for Afghan female journalists.
The microphone is not working. Could you switch it on?
Hello. Yes, I will. I will turn this side. The Afghan women who make up part of the society suffered much and tolerated large difficulties compared to the men since the last several decades of war in the country, and mostly been driven out the maximum significant issues discussed by men. The Afghan people had experienced these problems and difficulties one after another in the country. As an Afghan popular proverb says, be graduated of what is going on the future may appear getting worse. Unfortunately, in the past 3 decades, Afghan women were the ones who lost most from the war and militarization in the country. During the Mujahideen, by using the name of Islam and calling Islamists in danger, they were killing teachers, students, and people who associated with government and calling as communists and infidels. They fatal girls and destroy girls' school and stop them from going to education. During the Civil War, many people were subjected to different violence. Girls and women, even were raped and kidnapped in different parts of Afghanistan. In 1996, under the Taliban regime, the Afghan women were deprived of education, work, and presence in the society, and many of them had been initiated to forced marriage with old Taliban. Women and girls were discriminated against in many ways, of the crime to being born a girls. The Taliban enforced the version of Islamic Sharia law and deny women's rights, such as ban from going to school or study, ban from working, from leaving the home without a male escort, ban from showing their skin in the public, and from access to health delivery by mail. There were many other ways the rights were denied to them. Women were essentially invisible in the public life and present at home. In Kabul, residents were ordered to cover their ground and first floor windows so women inside could not be seen from the street. If a woman left the house, it was in a full body cover by burqa, accompanied by a male, and she had no liberty. Taliban shoot dead many women in front of the public and punish them without any formal court judgment or decision. The heavy trouble with the women finally pushed some of them to hang themselves and force many others to leave country, with massively seeking asylum in 2 neighboring countries, Pakistan and Iran. After fall of Taliban in 2001, by presence and support of international communities, Afghanistan women's rights have expanded significantly and made a lot of achievements. The event was a turning point and a proper opportunity for the women and girls' social and economic progress. A new constitution in the parliament and a new constitution in 2003 protected women's rights and the equal rights on it. 25% women in the parliament and become active to the politic. In 2009, Afghanistan adopted the elimination of violence against women law, selection from ministers to the police officers, many women running their own business, millions of girls back to schools, the participation of women in decision making. Article 40 granted education to all Afghanistan or Afghan people. Article 34 granted the press freedom and expression. The social life also changed in different aspects. This is all work of Afghan women and support of people from around the world who kindly support Afghan people to stand to their feet and support women and women's rights in Afghanistan, that we are really thankful from them. In 2001, international leaders had a message for Afghanistan and says, "We are not compromising the rights of Afghan women. We are here to support Afghan women." But there are still deep concern that the women and girls may face risk in their life from one suspected growing violence, failing their political and economical presence in the society. Afghan girls get married young and typically have 5 children on average. The minimum age of marriage is lower for women 16 years than men 18 years. Decades of war have not only destroyed Afghanistan communication and basic services, they have also contributed to the nation's poverty and continued revocation of women's human rights. According to a report of UNIFEM, 70 to 80% of all marriage in Afghanistan is by force. So far, an estimated 57% of girls are married under the age of 16, and midwife report treating the pregnant mother as young 12 years. Despite a strong legal framework regarding women's rights, in Afghanistan women still suffer extensive discriminatory cultural practices. More than 87% of women experience at least one form of domestic violence, including physical, sexual, mental, or psychological violence, or forced marriage. Furthermore, 62% face multiple of violence. I'm sorry, I'm not fast. Okay, I'm trying to be slow. Domestic violence in Afghanistan is highly normalized. Through the society, many women experience violence in the home, and at the same time, they try to rate their marital relationship with the satisfactory. The most violent cases are really bad, or badly, such as cutting the nose, lips, hair, burning of the woman, committing public rape or mass rape, which is against dignity and humanity. Killing women in Afghanistan is an easy thing because there is no punishment at all. As I before mentioned, laws are improved, but the implementation of those laws are still in the hands of warlords and practically violated. The Afghan Independent Human Rights Commission shown that in the most extreme cases, victims of rape and sexual attack are murdered by their own families in the attempt to preserve the family honor. We say this like honor killing. Many violations of women's rights, including sexual harassment, do not receive sufficient response from the justice system. Sharp rise in the number of self-immolation across the country by women who are so worried, so hopeless, they think the only escape is to burn themselves beyond recognition. Estimations show each year about 2,500 Afghan women and girls aged between 15 and 40 years who suffer from depression and violence commit suicide. Recently, according to the Ministry of Women Affairs, since January 2014, about 5,000 violence cases are recorded in 32 provinces, which Afghanistan has 34 provinces, which mostly the violence take place in capital of Afghanistan, Kabul, and one of the other big province in western Afghanistan, Herat. Also, according to the information of this ministry, during the 6 months, more than 300 rape and sexuality cases reported only from 4 provinces, and include of the children. It's always women who lost the most from any conflict situation, and they are still losing from this conflict that is happening in the past 30 years. Afghan women's rights in Afghanistan have improved since 2001. Female politicians and activists have been increasingly subjected to threat, pressure, and attacks. Women's rights continue to be violated. Female officials are being targeted and killed, and legal protection is under threat. Recent targeted killing and intimidation of high-level female government officials and activists are also raising fear about increased violence against women. According to the UN, in 2012, female casualty increased by 20% in spite of decreasing. And this year, 2014, by 61% increase again. There are only 9 women in the 70 members of High Peace Council in order to bring real peace. Women have to play a more active role in the reconciliation process. That is why women are hopeful to Afghan policymakers, and the international community listen to them. Now, women are routinely discriminated against, abused, and persecuted. Taliban and other highly conservative insurgent groups still control most part of Afghanistan, and violence and discrimination against women and girls continue all over Afghanistan. Women's rights in Afghanistan are under threat, especially as foreign troops prepare to leave after 2014. Every day, women become more and more scared and concerned because not only the troops withdraw, but also the fans are moving back and leading a lack of job. Now, it depends on the new government responsibility and the international community commitments. It is very important that women's rights and empowerment are prioritized in the new government of Afghanistan. The international community put condition and continues. If the international community put condition and continue to openly defend the equal rights of women, it will be a great support and opportunity for Afghan civil society and keeping the values and achievements of 30 years of the past. But after 30 years, since 2010, Afghan government initiated and proposed peace deal or negotiation with Taliban. As a journalist, I should tell you, the civil society organization does not focus on who will run the government, but our priority is human rights, specific women's rights, which have to be respected and the legal framework, and also in the society. Now, Afghanistan government must take serious steps to combat sexual harassment of women in education, employment, and public life. What is going on with the life of female journalists and how it is dangerous for female journalists to work as a female journalist in Afghanistan? Unfortunately, during the Taliban regime, it means in 1996 till 2001, there was only one radio station called Voice of Sharia. It was used to broadcast religious program, jihadi speech, and all official propagandas. Afghanistan media has grown speedily since fall of Taliban and provide Afghan the opportunity to practice their freedom and speech by establishing numerous media outlets with strong financial and moral support from the international community. As a result, Afghanistan has more than 40 TV channels, more than 100 radio stations, and more than 500 independent newspaper publication, magazine, weeklies, like that. In addition to broadcast and print media, by the progress of new technology, Afghanistan also enjoys a heavy presence of social media, such as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Presence of the private media and as the government and the international community, great achievement help them get access, capacity building, and media field and reporting, particularly for Afghan women. The way was smooth for them to exist as the camera woman, photographer, reporters, news editor, even in charge or director of the media outlets include radio, TV, or news agencies. And particular in Kabul, not in provinces. But unfortunately, unfair contracting policies and many of Afghanistan media organization and frequent sexual harassment are also preventing women from working in the media. And most media organization employees are subjected a 6-month restriction on work for other media outlets when they leave their job. Fearing they may be out of work for 6 months if they leave, make female journalists increasingly helpless as they are forced to submit to abuse and sexual harassment by media owners or media managers. There is no guarantee and safety to ensure proper representation of women journalists. Female journalists also receive serious warning and death threats from different places and sources. They are mostly targeted when assigned or want to write sensitive reports and cover the country's ongoing conflict in a responsible and natural manner. For other women, journalism serves as a desire and tool to promote women's rights by raising women's issues and criticizing. The situation gets worse generally day by day for journalists, specific for female journalists. That is why leaving their profession for different reasons. After fall of Taliban, according to the Journalistic Union, there were more than about 500 female journalists around Afghanistan. But due to the social and security challenges, now there are about 300. According to the Afghan Journalists Association, there have been over 60 cases of violence against journalists recorded from the beginning of this year. Since the start of 2014, 8 journalists, including of 2 female, were killed, 50% increase compared to the last year. Criminals unpunished, have further increased violence against journalists. That is why. The reason is because there is no punishment at all. One of the female journalists who work for Bayan, a local radio in north of Afghanistan, Balkh province, was killed inside her home on the evening night of 13 September, just recently, about 1 month before. She was one of my trainees, and she was one of my participants in one of the workshops. She was really very, very smart, and she was very active. Unfortunately, I was here when I heard that unknown people, gunmen go to their house and just shoot her. More than 40 journalists have now been killed in Afghanistan since 2001 alone. 6 of them was female. At the same time, one of my female journalists, she was really very active. I will show her picture. She was also one of my participants in one of the workshops north of Afghanistan. Her family killed her because of her job and professional. She shared with me and shared this concern that my family put pressure I should stop my work, but I love to continue. But unfortunately, after 15 days, I heard that finally they finished her. We hope the new government protect and support press freedom and professional work of journalists, particularly female, and provide good security and possibility according to the media law and Constitution of Afghanistan. In the end, I want to special thank the Hamburg Foundation for Politically Persecuted, and also the Association of Journalists Help Journalists, who financed my stay in Germany. Beside of that, and also thank from Media Foundation Leipzig for the prize, which accepted me for 2014 for the press freedom and the Future of Media prize. I'm really thankful from all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Farida Nekzad. Unfortunately, we are running out of time, but I think we should take us the time for 2 more questions. First of all, is there a question in the audience?
Just too few. I will, yeah. I want to show you, this is a big event, ceremony about 8th of March, you know, the International Women Day. Unfortunately, you see, we had more than 500 people. We have only few women among. This is the situation, and it shows that how women participant is really, and women presence, it's considerable right now. This is one of the peaceful demonstration which Ms. Simo Samar, the head of Human Rights Commission of Afghanistan, attended with me and other colleagues, friends, all together, few organizations which working for the protection of women and advocacy for women, because one of the violence, one of the men cut his wife hair and nose. Because of that, we had peaceful demonstration, and we asked violence should be stopped from government. And also, this is the International Press Freedom Day, and I just talk and condemn the killing of one of the girl or female journalists, which I mentioned before about. And this is my participants in Herat provinces, before I mentioned, is mostly the sexuality and the rape cases were reported from there. And this is the lady, which you see among of 80 participants, there was only few, four female journalists, 4 to 5. She was one of them. And after 15 days of this workshop, her family killed her. She was Dunya Samani, and she was very active, and she was, beside of that, a student and have lots of hopes, but unfortunately, their family finish her because of the professional work and because of the dictation of the warlord, and those people, they doesn't want to continue her job as a journalist. Thank you very much.
Farida, thanks a lot for this heavy insights. Just one personal last question, because I've learned you have a little daughter, and so do I. My daughter is almost 2 years old. How do you get and generate this energy to go and to believe in this case?
In Afghanistan, you have to sometimes accept the risk and give this belief to others. If you accept the risk, you will give the energy and motivation and courage to others. That is why mostly, many times, even they try to kill me, they kidnap me, they try to, very nearly, they try to stop me from working. I gave the message that no, I will continue, but it is not easy really. That is why I'm here, because finally my daughter was the reason, because she was affected mentally from these all situation and these traits and this situation, which is sometimes she see. There was a picture, if you see on the pictures, the rockets which came to my office and destroyed my office corridor. She was at the same time, she was in the kindergarten, and the voice of rockets for 5 or 6 hours, the Independent Election Commission compound was under attack of Taliban. 5 attackers, suicide bomber, tried to destroy the Election Commission compound, which my office was also a part of that. So she was really shocked, and one of the journalists killed with 2 children, with his 2 children and wife, the AP journalist, if you heard about, of course, mostly they are journalists, the Associated Press. When in the media and the TV show the funeral ceremony and the feeling of the people, and also the crying, the interview with the daughter, which was about 7 years, my daughter was affected. All the time she asked from my driver, from my staff, from anybody, from me, says, "Mom, why they are killing children? What was their fault?" So she was like, try to hide herself anytime. Unfortunately, every day, every single day, Afghan knows, even I'm following from here, Afghanistan, our day starts with violence, with threats, with rocket attack, with explosion, bomb explosion, like suicide attack. So all the days start like the conflict. There is no any entertainment. There is no so nice things. Even we have really changed Afghanistan right now in terms of reconstruction, in terms of, I already before mentioned, but still we have this stupid warlords, these stupid extremists and stupid Taliban, that they are not happy to leave Afghanistan to be a calm and peaceful Afghanistan. I hope we have a very nice and peace Afghanistan. I'm here, sometimes I feel how nice are these people. There is no fight, no conflict. Everyone is really very nice, like smiley. If you start from the beginning of the day till end of the night, you will be happy.
Oh, thanks a lot for this emotional statement. Take our full respect with you. All the best for you. Thanks a lot, Farida Nekzad.